So, like anyone, I have a drawer with spruce, which I bought with the intention of painting and doing something with someday. So I came up with a game. So here's how it works. On the screen you see a wheel of names with spruce, which I determined by a few rules, like they need to be humanoid and they need to be approximately the same size. So no ogrins, for example, or no tyrannid creatures or something like that. And you've seen the thumbnail, so you already know what the result is when I randomize this list. And I got the Grashraks Ravagers and the Traitor Guardsman from Blackstone Fortress. Of course, your first thought is Chaos Beastmen. There could be made a pretty nice shaman, like psyker character, or some kind of berserker guy with the beastmen from the Grashraks brew. I really like the weapons on the Grashnak kit. These kind of Stone Age type weapons. Really cool vibe. I'm not sure what to say about the Traitor Guardsman. It's a cool kit. The psychers in this kit are amazing sculpts. So let's see what we can figure out mashing these two kits together. Like with all modern Games Workshop sprues, these kits are a bit confusing until you assemble the minis. So step 1, assemble everything. This is also a good opportunity to take a look at some individual bits like this head or specific weapons you might like. Maybe you can get inspired and get some ideas here. One idea I was working with was making some kind of marksman character. Could I get the head and the arms onto the Traitor Guardsman so that he's firing a bow instead of a lasgun? I liked this idea, but getting the pieces to fit was gonna be a nightmare, so I kinda had to abandon this idea. After deciding to keep it simple, I landed on this Traitor Guardsman. His hands are not connected to anything, so doing an arm swap on this guy should be fairly easy. Now to the question, what arms to put on him? I'm considering all the different Ungor models, since the Beastmen are a bit too big. I landed on these two, so now the fun can begin. I take my trusty knife and I start chopping. It's usually a good idea to find a good natural edge on the models to chop, because if you should change your mind or want to do something else, it's easy to just put the bits back. Like on this model, for example, he has a bandage on his arms, and just at the edge of that bandage, that's where I cut the bit free. I mean, look at that. That's a prime bit right there. Next comes the dry fitting portion. This model was previously throwing a grenade. Maybe he could be throwing a spear instead. I tried a lot of different angles and I kind of liked this idea. It would be a really cool dynamic pose, but it didn't look natural, and for me that's a deal breaker. His arm was in a bit of an awkward position to make it work. As I started going for a more casual pose, a narrative started to emerge in my head. This character was slowly turning into some kind of Warhammer 40k Beastman character, and they exist in the universe, but it's a bit confusing as to what they are. Are they anthropomorphic goat people, like a race in the universe, like an abhuman race? Or are they mutated humans with goat-like features? Both these types exist as models, like the Gore Halfhorn model for Necromunda and the Beastmen in the Blackstone Fortress box. After deciding on the bits and the posts, it was time to pin the bits in place. This is important because if you're gonna use green stuff to fill the gaps, you want every piece to be properly secured. With all the pieces in place and the gaps filled with green stuff, this is the end result. I can already imagine this guy trekking through the jungles of his home planet. It looks like he made those weapons himself by hand. Time to paint. Since this is a kit bashing video and not a painting video, I'll go through my process pretty quickly. First, I use a gray brush on primer. Then I block in all the colors, at least all the major ones. I felt that this project was a great place to try new things, so that's why I went with this unnatural red skin color. And then I dry brush the entire model with a neutral color, and since the model has a lot of beige in it, I used a very bright beige to pick out the highlights on everything. Next, I oil wash the entire model with a black-brown mix. And after this step, I just pick out some details and do some cleanup, and I'm done. Here is the final result. I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. I can really imagine this guy trekking around in the jungles of his feral homeworld, where the only way to get by is by making your own weapons and carrying all your things with you. I was a little bit inspired by the Catachan fighters, and this guy being a abhuman beastman, it kind of puts him in a special category, but I can really see him being recruited for a inquisitorial retinue, greatly respected for his survival skills in the wilderness. Overall, I think this project was a success, and if you have any feedback or any suggestions, feel free to type them down below. Keep in mind, however, I am completely new to YouTube and I really need a better microphone, I need a better camera, and I'm working on acquiring these. If you would like to help me, I'm setting up a coffee where you can tip a small amount of money, and anything is greatly appreciated. You'll find a link to that down below. So thank you for watching, and I hope I'll see you next time.